You've got it locked to New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Yes, it is 3 p.m. Eastern, and of course, time for HTLA Radio 1's Tuesday Grinder on coffee and cigarettes today. Yes, got a good show for you, of course, as always. Right now, the current weather situation in New York is, we get our readings, of course, from Central Park, and 32 degrees is what it's sitting at right now, right there at good old zero, and, cloudy. Yes, but the good news is that for the next 4 days, it's just going to remain cloudy, which is good, because that means no precipitation, and at 32 degrees, well, that would be snow. And I don't like snow, but you already knew that. Yes, you did. Say it with me. I already knew that, Crash. Yes. There we go. So today on the big show, gonna be fun. Got some good stuff. Some crazy 2014 stuff for you. Yes. Lots of it. Well, actually, I'm going to bring you 7 stories from 2014 that mattered most. And no, it wasn't the Kardashians. Also, the top 5 craziest crime stories out there for 2014. And not to leave, 2014 with just that. No, heck no. We're not going to do that. How about the weirdest health studies? That's going to be good. And, of course, the latest on the ill-fated Flight 8501 and a brave Australian shark hunter. All that and more on today's show. So come on in and grab a cup, have a seat, and light one up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is coffee time. Oh, yes. The funky sounds of the city here. Yes, 32, New York City right now. Cloudy, no snow on this 30th of December, 2014. Ladies and gentlemen. Yes. I am, of course, Chris Crash Jesus, your host of hosts, host with the most, sitting here on the old program today with you. And always, of course, Jenny McCartney in the booth. Yes. And, of course, the one, the only, Mr. Louis Lawless of LDL Films, currently sitting in Mill Bay Studios in beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada. Louis, are you there?
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
Oh, he's such a card, ladies and gentlemen. There he is.
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
Absolutely not.
I go a half an hour. Do I get 50,000?
What do you think? I'm made of money? It was just Christmas, for God's sake. I'm broke.
I need to try and raise $25,000 to enter in the Academy Awards, and I think it's a fantastic risk because we have a tremendous chance. There's about 200 members that vote on it, and they all get. You have to give them a DVD now.
A DVD? You don't say. Really? Wow. That's interesting, and I've tried. I guess this is about the third week now. I've tried to get the actual name of the film out of you. Your latest, of course. Of course, your previous credits include The Diary and Unrepentant, a hell of a good documentary that I helped you out with back in 2009. And, well, a plethora of things dating back right to, I think it was 1978 or 77 when you started out acting. Of course, you got that incredible role for Captain Northside in that B science fiction classic Planet of the Dinosaurs. Yeah.
I lived in Greenwich Village for a while when I first started out as an actor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you did. And then you got the call. Captain Northside was wanted in L.A. And you didn't look back from there. No, you went on doing, well, pretty much, I think for the most part of your career, pretty much exclusive work with Stephen J. Cannell Productions, of course, doing Magnum P.I. and Riptide and, well, of course, the A-Team. Yes, nobody can forget that one.
I think it should be short and sweet.
Well, the A-Team actually ran for quite a few years there. Riptide, I think, was pretty short.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
I know, but then what comes after the sex?
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Oh, that's what comes after the sex.
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
That always happens after the sex. And hey, I also brought, because, today is Tuesday, the Tuesday Grinder here at Coffee and Cigarettes. Of course, we're going to be doing the old crash talk tonight, where I rip somebody a new one. Yes. So I've absconded with the Crash Talk kids. Say hi, kids. There you are. There they are. And there we go.
Wait a minute, I got lost. H-T-L-A. Oh, H-T-L-A.
Right.
What the hell is that?
I don't know how you get lost. How do you get lost? Seriously, tell me. I don't understand. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just the host around here. I don't know all the good stuff. Anyway, wanted to also shout out and salute and all that good stuff to faithful listener David Caruso. Yes, of, what is that, CSI Miami? Yeah. And Hill Street Blues. Or was it NYPD Blue? I get confused. I don't know.
He called me, and he called me. And he kept calling me, and I wouldn't answer the phone.
Really? You wouldn't pick up David Caruso's phone call? What's wrong with you?
Use power. That's why power is corrupt, and it is. We see it every day. We see it in every job. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you didn't pick up his phone call.
That was a mistake on my part.
Yes, it was.
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
No, I can't. Let's move on to the fun stuff today. HTLARadio1.com. That is the website, and pretty soon here in the next day or so, that's the place where you're going to get nothing but the exclusive stuff. Yes, we're reeling her back in, going with our own servers. Not moving ahead with Radio 2, of course, now, thanks to the failings and misgivings of others. But that's fine, because we're okay with that here. I don't know if you guys caught Straight Talk last night, our 2014 retrospective we like to do every year. And, yeah, we've got a new plan now. Yes, the Plan B. We're going to go ahead with that. So fear not, you will still be able to get all of your HTLA goodness. Yes, that will not go away. And HTLA Radio 1, of course, will not go away because it is the only one. Yes, there can be only one. Yes. So we'll stick with that. And, yep, going independent. I think we're going to get off some of our other distributors out there, Spreaker being definitely one of them. That thing is plaguing us. So we're cutting that cancer out and moving on. But yes, rest assured, all of our content you'll still be able to get from all of our various social media sites and sources. And never fear, the links will always still be there. So yeah, check out that website. Seeing as they've taken off all the Christmas stuff now, and it's no longer an issue that hits you in the face like a wet trout Or is that salmon? And yes, I'm happy. I got my drum back yesterday, so screw everybody. And what else we got rolling on? Well, hey, I got to mention that today's episode is, of course, as always, brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City. 8 great locations all throughout the city now to serve your coffee and baked good needs. And they're all right there. And of course, today's episode is also
powered by Procast.
Uh-huh. I love having coffee sponsors. That is good. And yes, we are powered by Procast. We don't need electricity here. So yeah, Jenny in the booth. Kids are here. Louis Lawless.
We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award.
I know.
And we did.
Nope. And that's why you're here. And I'm grateful for that. Damn it. Otherwise, it'd just be me and Jenny, and we get into all kinds of trouble, and the wife wouldn't like that. No. So there we go. So let's move on, shall we, to our first story of the day, which is, of course, 7 stories from 2014 that matter most. And no, the Kardashians aren't in any of them. Are you surprised? I'm surprised. Oh, no, wait, no, I'm not. Well, yes, I am. Well, no, I'm not. See, my common sense and my intelligence tell me that I'm not surprised at that, but with the bottom-feeding media out there, I kind of am surprised at that, you know. Yeah. Well, the stories that commanded the top headlines in 2014 aren't necessarily the ones that will leave most staying power. The developments most likely to matter range from initial encouraging signs on wages to major societal shifts that didn't generate much reaction, like Sherlock Holmes's dog that didn't bark. Well, we've got a list here for you, admittedly not a comprehensive one, of 7 of this year's events that will resonate in 2015 and beyond. Number 1 is on the economy, wages budged. Budged. Yes. No, wages budged. Come on, stay with me. Well, a record-setting stock market and an unexpected jump in economic growth drew attention, but the economic the economic statistic, thank you, likely to mean the most to regular folks, was early evidence that median household income, which actually sank and then stagnated in the wake of the Great Recession, began to actually recover this year. While I would not assign too much importance to any single wage point, there are signs that we are near an inflection point, says Jay Feldman, an economist at Credit Suisse. Yes, we think further improvement in wage growth is likely next year. So have hope, you Burger King flippers out there, that yes, you will indeed not ever get $15 an hour. It won't happen. I'm sorry. Yeah. Average hourly earnings for private sector workers rose by 0.4% in November, double the monthly gain in the previous 12 months. The Employment Cost Index, a broader measure of compensation, also increased in the third quarter, and Feldman notes that the unemployment rate is now 5.8%, and it's dipped into a territory where wages typically firm up. Even as the jobless rate dropped on the Dow Jones soared, Americans had been stuck in a funk about the economy, in part because many didn't see any improvement in their own lives. That cost President Obama and the political boost an improving economy usually brings, and it has contributed to a rising populist sentiment that divides the Democratic Party. Even now, analysts caution that 1 month raises in wages in June 2013 and October 2011 did not persist and continue. Workers haven't regained the ground, and they've lost since the financial meltdown in 2008, and wage growth is slower than after previous downturns. But the economic reports over the last few years have fueled optimism that wages are rebounding finally. And number 2, on national security, James Foley was beheaded. Yes, the Obama administration had touted the end of U.S. combat operations in Iraq as a major foreign policy achievement, a development welcomed by a war-weary public. Then, in August, a video uploaded to YouTube entitled A Message to America showed an American hostage, James Foley, kneeling in the desert next to masked Islamic State fighter. The 40-year-old journalist from Wolfboro, New Hampshire, was decapitated in retaliation for U.S. airstrikes against the ISIL forces in Iraq. He had been held captive in the region for more than a year and a half. The execution of more Western hostages by the previously little-known jihadist group would follow. It was really ISIS, lightning thrusts into Iraq, that first got our attention, but fully focused it and solidified it and made it impossible for America to ignore it, says Bruce Hoffman, an expert on terrorism and director for the Center of Security Studies at Georgetown University. It was the power of ISIS so brutally demonstrated by that beheading video. Yes, it was. We actually did a special on actually Mr. Foley's crew, who he was working with in 2012 for the E-Team, which you can catch on one of our previous shows here. I would suggest you listen to it. Good interview and great people trying to do great things in this not-so-great world we live in. Number 4, on social issues, Americans shrugged. A wave of federal court rulings in 2014 allowed some same-sex couples to marry in 19 additional states, more than doubling the number of states where gay marriage is permitted. Nearly 2/3 of the U.S. population lives in the 35 states where gay men and lesbians are free to wed. Another ruling this month has cleared the way, in addition, in Florida as well. And the public reaction? Well, there wasn't one. Opponents are pressing forward with a challenge that is expected to take it to the Supreme Court, but as a political issue, gay marriage seems to be fading, even as the debate over other wedge issues like abortion rights remain unrelenting. In 1996, 68% of Americans surveyed by the Gallup poll organization opposed same-sex marriage. This year, 55% apparently supported it, including nearly 8 in 10 of those under 30. That overwhelming view among the rising millennial generation means it will be hard to reverse the tide of public opinion. And why would we want to do that? Yes, well, rest assured it'll come back on its own, won't it? Oh, yeah. Oh, and let's go to number 5 for 2014 on race relations. Yes. Ramsey Orta took a cell phone video. In July, the 22-year-old bystander recorded the New York police officers confronting Eric Garner for illegally selling loose cigarettes. Attempts to arrest the unarmed African-American became a struggle, and one of the officers put him in a chokehold as Garner protested, "I can't breathe." He died. A Staten Island grand jury decided not to indict Daniel Palateo, the police officer involved, and Garner's dying words became a rallying cry across the country and sold more than 6 million T-shirts. The grand jury's decision came on the heels of a decision by another grand jury in Missouri not to indict Darren Wilson, a white police officer who shot and killed an unarmed black teenager, Michael Brown. The two deaths struck protests across the country. Then the execution-style killing of the two New York police officers Weijun Liu and Rafael Ramos by an assailant who had cited police treatment of blacks on social media deepened the debate and galvanized law enforcement supporters. The Eric Garner case has had particular resonance because of the video. In the death of Eric Garner, we are largely complete in understanding of what happened, says David Harris, a professor at the University of Pittsburgh School of Law, who studies, in specific, police behavior and racial profiling. There is real outrage because people who saw what happened for themselves can't believe that no charges were brought. And in the Michael Brown case, people are still arguing about what actually happened. Well, Harris calls this year a turning point. Bernard McLean, a former police chief in California who has also led the Federal Justice Department's COPS program, says the debate has been going on in police circles for years. Now, he says, there is a spectrum of awareness and commitment that is often shifted only by high-profile events like Eric Garner. It has also bolstered broad public support for equipping police officers with body cameras to create an independent account of exactly what happened in controversial situations. When will we see those? Well, who knows? I guess it might matter about money. How much is that going to cost? And as it always does, and the Republicans, of course, arguing that it's just another one of Obama's little things that he's trying to just shut everybody down, calm them down, go back to sleep. Anywho, coming up on the 20-minute mark here at Coffee and Cigarettes, so we're going to go for our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll do number 6 on foreign policy. Eric Gardner, Alan Gross. There you go. Alan Gross came home. Yes, be right back in 2.
Good morning. Welcome to Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where fresh always tastes better. What can I make you this morning?
How about our new flatbread breakfast paninis? Made fresh, just for you, with your favorite breakfast ingredients on maple or multigrain flatbread, then grilled to hot, melted perfection. Just $2.99. Who couldn't warm up to that?
Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where quality really does meet value.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the Egyptian cotton towels. Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
In this fast-paced, digital everything life, there's nothing like experiencing the world's finest journalism in its original form. So sign up today for as little as $3.80 a week to receive the greatest newspaper in the world and all the incredible experiences that come with it.
Instead of mailing everyone my vacation photos, I'm saving a ton of time by posting them to my wall.
Ooh, I like that one.
It's so quick. It's just like my car insurance. I saved 15% in just 15 minutes.
I saved more than that in half the time.
I'd unfriend you.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
15 minutes for a quote isn't how it works anymore. With Esurance, 7.5 minutes could save you on car insurance. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Glasses. White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
The hot new accessory, brows that wow. New from Maybelline, New York, it's Brow Drama, our first sculpting ball brush with tinted gel. Just sweep, then sculpt for bolder, sculpted brows. New Brow Drama. Get the look at Maybelline.com.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
There you go. Yes, we are back, and 33 degrees now in Central Park in New York. Yes, gone up 1 degree just at that Maybelline commercial there. Yeah. I guess it makes you hotter when you've got good eyebrows. There you go. There it is.
Always with a female having a relationship, married or single, it's always better that they do the leaving. If you do the leaving, it keeps that lingering thing. You know what I mean? We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award, and we didn't.
And you're here. That's right. You know, you keep talking about the relationship advice. I'm going to stick you in your own relationship show. Yes, it'll be be Love Talk with Louis Lawless.
That was a mistake on my part.
I kind of thought so. Let's move on. Well, as he began his 5th year in a Cuban prison, his friends and family expressed growing concerns about Alan Gross's physical health and mental well-being. Gross, a contractor for the U.S. Agency for International Development from Maryland, had been convicted of plotting to, quote, destroy the revolution, end quote, by delivering and installing secure satellite communications equipment to religious groups. There was an imperative, actually, to get him out, says Peter Kornbluh, co-author of a book published in October, Back Channel to Cuba, The Hidden Story of Negotiations Between Washington and Havana. Gross's death during imprisonment, a tragedy for his family, also would have undermined hopes by U.S. officials of an opening up of relations with Cuba. Quote, that meant biting the bullet and making a prisoner swap. Yes. In a deal facilitated by Canada and the Vatican, yes, because those two are a peacemaking powerhouse, aren't they, kids? Yes, yeah, you get Canada and the Vatican together, and it's nothing but peace. Well, yes, it was facilitated by Canada and the Vatican. The United States released 3 Cuban spies, and Cuba released a prisoner who had worked for U.S. intelligence agencies. Gross, 65 years old, also was freed on humanitarian grounds. Obama used the moment to announce the two countries would normalize relations, exchange ambassadors, and hold bilateral discussions, reversing a policy that had lasted since the Eisenhower administration severed diplomatic relations. This is what I call a quantum change in terms of resolving what has been one of the most intractable U.S. foreign policy challenges for the last half-century, says Kornbluh, a senior analyst at the National Security Archive, a research group. In April, the U.S. president and the leader of Cuba were slated to meet at the Summit of the Americas in Panama. In the first time leaders of those two countries will have sat and talked in the same room for just over 55 years. Yeah. And it's funny because, you know, Kate was just mentioning on Straight Talk last night, too, about a few things about Obama, and that she kind of said something that I didn't expect. She said he's going to make lasting changes in a lot of big areas, and he's going to be remembered for them. And I was just, I was like, what? No, really? Obama, the golfer, right? He's going to make lasting what? Yes, Obama the golfer. Well, at number 7 for the top stories in 2014 that matter most and not the Kardashians, number 7 was climate change. Obama and Xi reached a deal. Last month in Beijing, President Obama and Chinese President Xi Jinping unexpectedly announced an accord to set targets for curbing carbon emissions. The agreement by the world's 2 largest polluters came on the heels of a new U.S. regulation setting tougher standards for coal-fired power plants and heavy-duty vehicle fuel economy. Obama has pursued regulations and diplomacy to address climate change after efforts early in his tenure to enact legislation failed to get through Congress. The president's willingness to advance energy and preparedness policies that will make a difference on climate change may well be looked back on as a turning point, says Angela Ledford Anderson, director of the Climate and Energy Program at the Union of Concerned Scientists. Well, there you go. See, Kate was right. Again, what do you know? Yes, put that in your pressure cookers and smoke it or what have you. Yes. Growing concern about extreme weather has been a factor, she says, from coastal flooding to rising temperatures. She notes that 2014 is on track to be the hottest year so far on record. The political battles will continue next year. A new international climate change accord being negotiated in Peru currently is scheduled to be signed next December in Paris. In the U.S., critics are braced to fight new regulations. The efforts to reverse the power plant standard before they are even finalized by the EPA will be fierce in the new year at both the state and national levels, and they'll likely be challenged in courts as well, Anderson says, but if they survive this new year and are finalized by the administration, undoing them is going to be no easy task. So there you go. The top 7 most important stories of 2014, and Kardashian's butt was nowhere to be seen. There you go. Louie, are you still awake?
Wait a minute, I got lost. H-T-L-A. Oh, H-T-L-A. Hell is that? You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Yes, got that. Not a problem.
That was a mistake on my part.
What? No, I got it. It's fine.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
No, you are a card. Yes, you are a card. Well, hey, don't go anywhere. We've got a heck of a good show still to go, because you won't believe the 5 craziest crime stories of 2014, because I don't believe them. No, I don't. Old acquaintance should not be forgot, especially not when it comes to the folks who've allegedly committed the dumbest, weirdest, faced, palmiest crimes of the year. Here are 2014's best or worst, depending on how you look at it, crazy crimes in 5 categories that have more than a few entrants. Smile pretty for your police portrait. Yes, bank robbery suspect makes the most of his mugshot in September. You're never fully dressed without a smile, even if you're in jail garb. At least that seemed to be the 45-year-old Michael Whittington's philosophy after he got his pic taken for posterity by the police, after they say he robbed a Denver bank. His crime may have been a bit more run-of-the-mill, but not his mugshot. Yes, and his mugshot is just staggeringly stupid. Yes. Online fails. Women arrested thanks to unflattering Facebook picture. A 34-year-old Ohio woman was hit with an aggravated robbery and kidnapping charges, all thanks in part to an unflattering Facebook photo. After Monica Hargrove allegedly robbed a friend and left her stranded in the street, a warrant was issued for her arrest, and Columbus police posted a mugshot of Hargrove on its Facebook page. Hargrove didn't like the pic, and what police said she did next goes down in the annals of narcissistic numbskullery. She went to the police station and bitched them out. Wedding's gone wrong. Yes, groom hits on pregnant server. Brawl ensues. A wedding bash on a Pittsburgh boat went terribly wrong, ending with the arrests of an off-duty state trooper, a local school board member, and the groom himself. The reported reason for the chaos? Well, newlywed Mark Williams, 33, allegedly hit on a waitress and tried to pour liquor down her throat, even though she told him she was pregnant. And there are crazier details still, but I can't go into them here because Kate would shut our show down. I know. But hey, I've got more. How about putting the duh in DUI? A driver mistook jail for someplace else in October. A Michigan woman didn't have far to go after her arrest on drunk driving charges. Officers say the 39-year-old was in the Van Buren County Jail's parking lot when her BAC clocked in at more than twice the legal limit because she mistook the building for a much, much different locale. And finally tonight, crazy, noise violation. A man jailed over loud sex. Yes, back in April, there's a noisy romp between the sheets, and there's sex so loud it's considered stalking.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, stalking your neighbors. That was the charge. An Italian man apparently faced in court after a dozen of his neighbors filed a civil suit complaining of his loud lovemaking sessions. They took issue with screams and moans that disturbed the peace in the condominium and the building's decorum. The man's not exactly modest claim about his lovemaking skills didn't help things anymore. No. There you go. Get jailed over your sex. How do you come back from that, Louis?
That was a mistake on my part.
What? Okay. I'm not even going to touch that. No. I'm not going to bother with that. No. Well, let's see, what else did we do in 2014? Well, we did some really weird health studies. Yeah. Health experts are always coming out with new studies that have developed breakthrough treatments or clued us into some major medical mystery. But sometimes the studies they come out with are just plain weird. Here's a look back at this year's weirdest studies. In July, the University of Virginia researchers told us people prefer experiencing painful electric shocks to being alone with their thoughts. Ooh. When put alone in a room with nothing to do but shock themselves, 12 out of 18 men gave themselves at least one electric shock. 6 of 24 women also chose to shock themselves. All of the participants in the test had previously been shocked and had said that they would pay to avoid being shocked again, but changed their mind after just minutes alone in a room. Researchers found it fascinating that people would rather hurt themselves than just sit quietly with nothing to do. They theorized more men may have chosen to shock themselves because men tend to seek sensations more than women, and people from both sexes chose to shock themselves because humans in general do not like to be alone with their thoughts. Wow, if you stop and think about that, that's pretty telling, Louis.
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
I don't think these tests actually pay that much. But if I come across one, I will let you know. Yes. In September, UK researchers found dreams get increasingly bizarre as the night goes on. For 2 nights, researchers woke up 16 participants 4 times a night to ask them what they were dreaming. They found in the early stages of sleep, most dreamed about a movie that they watched that day or a book that they were reading. But later on in the night, researchers said people began dreaming stranger things, giving the example of a wild animal tearing up someone's back garden. Researchers said they believe the dreams are a safe space to figure out personal issues and gain insight into our emotions. I wonder what the person with the wild animal in their backyard needed to work through. Yeah. Also in September, Brown University researchers found people are attracted to the body odor of people with similar political beliefs. Not even kidding, though. No. For the study, 146 participants rated the smells of strong liberals and conservatives without ever actually seeing the individuals. Researchers found that people generally were attracted to the scent of others with similar views. Wow. The researchers explained evolution could be behind the phenomenon. Parental similarity in values increases the likelihood that such individuals may be able to stay together long enough to raise their children successfully into adulthood. And in November, Beijing researchers released a study saying that a gene could be causing some to be single.
That was a mistake on my part.
Oh.
Which woman are you married to or living with now?
You know the answer to that question. I'm not even going to talk to you about it because I know you're single. Yes, well, those researchers found that carriers of the gene 5-HTA1 are 20% more likely to be and remain single. The 5-HTA1 is believed to lower serotonin levels, something that can cause depression and other neurological issues, possibly weakening the quality and stability of the carrier's relationships. A relationship expert explained that this information could help those with the gene to have a better shot at meeting a mate if someone's difficulties with dating are flagging up to them. I believe they can learn to interact in a way that will make them more successful in meeting somebody. So, hey, if your mother is asking you why you're still single, just tell her it could be because of the genes she passed on down to you. Yeah. There you go. Well, we're going to go for our second commercial break, and when we come back, mates, yeah, Australian shark hunter. Yeah, right. We'll be back in 2.
Good morning. Welcome to Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where fresh always tastes better. What can I make you this morning?
How about our new flatbread breakfast paninis? Made fresh, just for you, with your favorite breakfast ingredients on maple or multigrain flatbread, then grilled to hot, melted perfection. Just $2.99. Who couldn't warm up to that?
Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where quality really does meet value.
Instead of mailing everyone my vacation photos, I'm saving a ton of time by posting them to my...
Ooh, I like that one.
It's so quick. It's just like my car insurance. I saved 15% in just 15 minutes.
I saved more than that in half the time.
I'd unfriend you.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
15 minutes for a quote isn't how it works anymore. With Esurance, 7.5 minutes could save you on car insurance. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the
Egyptian cotton towels.
Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York.
Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
In this fast-paced, digital everything life, there's nothing like experiencing the world's finest journalism in its original form. So sign up today for as little as $3.80 a week to receive the greatest newspaper in the world and all the incredible experiences that come with it.
White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
The hot new accessory, brows that wow. New from Maybelline, New York, it's Brow Drama, our first sculpting ball brush with tinted gel. Just sweep, then sculpt for bolder, sculpted brows. New Brow Drama. Get the look at Maybelline.com.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah, that's right. You're back with coffee and cigarettes on the Tuesday grinder here, 43 minutes past the hour, and it's a December 30th here. Yes, it is. Sitting in HTLA Studio 2 right now, 33 degrees outside Central Park, cloudy and nothing but clouds for the next 4 days. All good there. It's going to be good for the New Year's ball dropping because, hey, nobody sees the clouds at night, right? Joining me as always in the... yes, thank you. Yes, joining me in the studio, of course, is the Crash Talk Kids. Yes, there they are, making themselves known without being told, which means it cost you $20, you little beggars. And, of course, Louis Lawless.
$88,000 a year they make, approximately average, 80s, let's say, and there's 1,000, that's $88 million a year that we're paying as taxpayers.
Well, it is, and I don't know what it has to do with anything, but thank you.
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway. The music is fantastic. Oh, you got to hear it.
Hear the music? You mean dun 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 dun. Huh?
I think it should be short and sweet.
Fine. Damn it. Well, yes, we've got some Australian shark hunter news. Yes, we do. And you know, you probably won't get this story anywhere else. So there you go. Just feel fortunate in the joy and love that is being spread all the way from Australia just for you here today. A 17-year-old Australian boy is dead after being attacked by what authorities suspect was a 13-foot-long great white. And a friend who was alongside him managed to survive after shooting the animal with his spear gun. Quote, "The shark hit me first, then attacked Jay," says Matt Palula, writing on his Facebook. "The shark turned and came for me. I pushed the spear gun down his throat and fired the gun." The pair were spear fishing roughly 130 feet off Three Stripes Beach on Australia's southwest coast yesterday when Jay Muscat was bitten on the leg. Fisheries official Rich Fletcher says the shark may have been lured by the fish they caught. Jay was pulled into a passing boat where people tried to revive him, but he died before they reached shore. Fletcher says that based on the bite marks and the witness reports, it's likely a great white, and that effort is underway to find and kill the shark, though the hunt was ended today due to rough seas. Obviously, if we find a shark with a spear in it, that's clear-cut that's probably unlikely, he says. Perth now notes a sizable shark was seen a number of times at a nearby Shanes Beach in the week before the attack. In his Instagram profile, Jay called himself a salty young dog whose thing was spearfishing and fishing as well. Pictures of the recent high school grad posing with fish he caught are peppered across social media. Jay is the 8th shark victim in 5 years. More recently, a teen was killed in 2013, and this man was killed while swimming in October. A surfer, in October, lost both hands thanks to a great white shark. And you know, the funny thing about great white sharks in Australia, the Australians just don't learn. They don't stop swimming with the sharks.
That was a mistake on my part.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll blame you for that too. Yeah, they don't. I mean, even Australia's Prime Minister is down a leg because of a shark attack that he suffered in 2011. Does it ever occur to them, hey, mate, let's stay out of the water and go for a Foster's? Why not?
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yes, I know. I know it is. And I should know better. But I'll tell you, if Kate and I ever take the kids to Australia, I'm staying on the beach and having a golden throat charmer, mate.
That was a mistake on my part.
I know, you don't drink beer. It's all just Irish whiskey. Well, there you go. That's the great shark hunting news. And how about this little tidbit? George H.W. Bush released from a Houston hospital today. Former President George H.W. Bush was released Tuesday from a Houston hospital a week after being admitted for shortness of breath. Spokesperson Jim McGrath tweeted that Bush was sent home from Houston Methodist Hospital just 1 day after the former president's breathing was pronounced as being, quote, back to normal. He is now resting at home, grateful to the doctors and nurses for their superb care, McGrath said. Bush, now 90 years old, is the oldest living former president. He suffers from vascular Parkinsonism. It's a form of Parkinson's disease that requires him to use a wheelchair or scooter to get around. Secret Service officials have armored his scooter and wheelchair accordingly. The 41st president spent nearly 2 months in 2012, including Christmas, at the same Houston hospital where he was treated for then bronchitis. But he's home now and resting comfortably, and we wish him all the best for 2015 here at HTLA. Yes, now the Air Asia 8501. What is going on with that? And those mysterious Airbuses that keep disappearing. I think Boeing should actually release a disclaimer about the Airbus. Yes, this plane has been known to completely disappear. Yeah. Well, in Surabaya, Indonesia, after more than 2 days of tense waiting to learn the fate of relatives aboard AirAsia Flight 8501, family members got the tragic news in sudden and shocking fashion today via live TV. Indonesian news channel TV1, airing real-time video aboard a search and rescue helicopter, zoomed in on debris floating in the Java Sea near the coast of Borneo, about 6 miles from the plane's last known location. As dozens of relatives watched and looked on, 6 large-screen TVs inside a crisis center set up at Wanda International Airport, the TV camera focused on the nearly naked body of a woman floating among the wreckage. Hysterical family members began wailing and screaming so loudly they could be heard by reporters outside the center. At least 3 people fainted and had to be rushed out on stretchers to nearby airline office medical treatment centers. Others staggered out of the room in anguish, crying and holding on to one another for support as photographers and cameramen surrounded them. TV1 briefly aired split-screen footage of the floating body alongside the relatives' anguished reactions. The live feed was also picked up by other news stations in the region. Mercenelis Saputra, whose cousin Ruth Natalia Paparatsky, her boyfriend and her boyfriend's parents were on board Flight 8501, said he was devastated to see the body televised live. I just hope they can recover the bodies so this is over and we can start to go on with our lives again, he said. Police and airport security scrambled to place sheets of paper and torn pieces of cardboard over the windows of the crisis center to provide grieving relatives some privacy. Backlash to the live coverage was swift as criticism flared up almost instantaneously across social media. Singapore-based Channel News Asia, which briefly aired the footage, issued an apology on Twitter by saying, quote, "We apologize for the graphic images on our TV feed that were inadvertently shown from a live feed taken directly from an Indonesian TV station," end quote. Ifan Joko lost 7 relatives, 3 of them children, as they traveled to Singapore to ring in the new year. He says, "I know the plane has crashed, but I cannot believe my brother and family are dead," he said. "We will still pray that they are alive." Yeah. So that's the latest from the Air Asia 8501 right there. And, well, why? Everybody seems to be baffled. What's your take? That Air Asia jet with 162 on board disappeared in stormy weather Sunday. It was bound for Singapore from Surabaya, Indonesia. Given the reality of global change, climate change, which will result in ever-increasing severity and frequency of challenging weather situations around the world, air traffic controllers and pilots must be made more cognizant of better able to swallow severe weather events in real time. That way, they can work together to help planes steer clear of trouble. Pilots must also be better trained to handle severe weather. There has been far too many crashes and disappearances caused by bad weather, which is inexcusable for an age of high-tech weather monitoring and quick updates. I can't believe that in this day and age, when everyone has a GPS-equipped smartphone tracking their location, that they cannot do the same for aircraft. Surely it would be simple enough to install the equipment needed to do that and also make it tamper-proof. That way, missing planes could easily be found. The technology must exist. It just seems as if no one wants to use it for anything other than playing video games or spying. Sean Stark on Facebook writes, "Officials saying that the plane is at the bottom of the sea doesn't set anyone's mind at rest and leaves the families of missing wondering. This is not acceptable. We have equipment that can go deep into the oceans and send back pictures. Let's find these planes so that the dead can be accounted for once and for all." Julie Cooper writes us, "It takes a while to make improvements on tracking planes, especially in remote areas." And that's all she said. Well, thank you, Julie, for that. That was really revealing and incredible. John Leedy writes us, "Tracking technology won't keep airplanes in the air. It only helps find the wreckage and the bodies sooner after. That doesn't sound very cost-effective." It's all about the money, Louis.
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
I'd be glad to. David Staffney writes us, "Installing the technology would be cost-effective for a recovery effort. Look how much we spent to keep searching for the missing Malaysia Airlines flight, not to mention the emotional cost to the families." Good point, David. Thank you. Lisa Cohen writes us, these tragedies make me wonder about the quality of the facilities responsible for maintenance of airplanes in the first place. Very good question. Russell Thompson, this is very sad. I cannot imagine what is going on. This is the third airline catastrophe for that region. The whole airline industry should definitely take extra care. We need better air safety. Yes, we do. And, I would, further add to that, I think we need a little bit more than that. It's these Airbuses. I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but the last three planes that have gone, quote unquote, missing, kind of inferring what? Oh, I don't know. What is some paranormal explanation? Is that what you're saying? No, it's not paranormal. It's not.
The music is fantastic. Oh, you got to hear it.
Okay, well maybe that's paranormal. Louis, you're losing it again.
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Yes, because airline disasters and mass loss of life is so much fun.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
You are a card. I'll give you that. I know I've said that before. And what the hell does that mean? Well, it's actually an old term, an old American term, if I'm not mistaken, from the 40s. I think it was 1940s. Yes, it was a term meaning you're a funny man. You're a jackwagon. Jackwagon.
And I finally figured out how to edit.
Yes, that is very good, very good. And, in no time you'll be back, receiving Academy Awards again.
We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award, and we didn't. Use power. That's why power is corrupt, and it is. We see it every day. We see it in every job. It's the same thing.
So you're saying that the Academy group they're all corrupt, and that's why you didn't win.
That was a mistake on my part.
Okay.
My film, Unrepented, did very well in Europe.
It did, but it didn't win the Academy Award.
We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award, and we didn't.
Well, there you go. Can't say anything more. No, I just can't. That's it. Well, that about wraps up the show for today, folks, on HTLA Radio 1 New York. Coffee and Cigarettes Tuesday Grinder, another one down the tubes there. Still 33 in Central Park, and it's cloudy with no snow for the next 4 days. So you guys have yourselves a good fun New Year's Eve tomorrow night. Drink lots and be completely unconscious for the 1st and 2nd. I don't want to see or hear anybody until the 3rd of January. Once again, thank you to Jenny McCartney in the booth with me here in Studio 2, and the one, the only Louis Lawless, as always, for joining us on the show today. Thank you, Louis.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
You're a card. Also, hey, thanks to the kids. That's right. We'll see you kids tonight for Crash Talk. It's going to be a gooder. You're going to want to stick tuned to that one. That'll be coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Yes. So there we go. You guys have yourselves a heck of a good night, and we'll see you again here tomorrow, 3 p.m. as usual, for another Coffee and Cigarettes.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1, New York.